Gate 14 podcast, the Jano interview, heard around the world. The Gate 14 guys, we just finished recording with Jano. What an interview. What an interview to look forward to. The guy's electric. Let's get some feelings out here. Avery, how do you feel? Jano's a beauty. I made it clear.
I mean, I love that guy. We said it before. We were talking. He's got to be one of the fan favorites on the team. He's been here 2018. I mean, how many other people can you say that about? But what a goddamn guy. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome to see him rake last year. So we wish nothing but the best for Jano, especially the only current Blue Jay to come on this podcast, as our other friend gone to Pittsburgh. But no, awesome, man. What a guy.
He was always in the good books for Gate 14 because of Johnny. But now this is new level, man, coming on. I don't even know what these listeners and viewers are going to do. Like, this is our first, they don't even know how to react with someone like a current Jay coming on. He becomes our official guy, our first really official guy of the pod. So, I mean, I'm excited to see us just cheer on Jano all year. And to be honest, I'm excited that he's, we for sure know that he's going to be back and excited for the new year.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about like in the vibes that Jano gives me is he's just a normal dude that happens to be good at baseball. Like, if you saw him on the street, you wouldn't be like, that guy's a big leaguer, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask him, like, looking back now, I wanted to ask him if he's going to play in the World Baseball Classic, because that guy should definitely be there.
But JT Realmuto's catching for the U.S., though. It's only tough.
I mean, you can't catch every game, right?
Who's the backup? There's got to be someone else coming.
Will Smith, maybe?
Oh, those guys are really good. That's why I didn't ask the question.
He would have been like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But that's why I didn't ask the question.
Yeah. It's just obviously, I mean, I'm happy he came on. It's a long time coming. Obviously, he has a kid. So I just obviously wanted to kind of give him some time and like get adjusted to like being a father and stuff like that. I don't want to like fucking hound him to come on and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, just electric, had a zen in the entire time, just an absolute like guy's guy, just a beauty. One thing that him and I became such good friends was after every single podcast we would do, this was the funniest thing. So after the first podcast we did, he's like, all right, like I was like, thanks for coming on, man. He's like, wait. He's like, do you want to pack a dip right now? I was like, yeah. I was like, so I went upstairs, grabbed it. We just had a dip and just shot the shit on the Zoom for like 30 minutes.
I thought it sounded like you guys were together when he asked.
No. He's like, do you want to pack a dip? I was like, yeah, sure. So we just packed the dip and just shot the shit on the Zoom for like 30 minutes. He's such a good dude. Like, I just don't understand how people could hate it. Like,
no,
hate
he
him.
can't.
There's no need.
We were talking though, like he's the veteran. He's like an OGJ. Like, we don't have many of those. We don't have any of those.
Could you imagine the storm that would be aflame if Jano got traded though? Like, because they were mad with fucking Lourdes, right? Like, Jano is like a I guess as close to like a fan favorite as you could get. And if the Jays traded him, fucking pandemonium in the streets.
I think we also kind of forget how young he is. He's 26.
I forgot to ask him, and I can't. I'm just having a fucking meltdown. I can't unlock my phone. I can't go into my phone.
27. He'll be 28 this year.
That is young, though. To be honest, like I'm kind of shocked. Like Varsho, like when I was thinking about it, we were thinking about. I thought Jansen just off the top was like 3-4 years older than him. Like Varshow's 26, so it's
crazy.
Like, yeah, it is. But like this is a guy who's been in the league since he was, I guess it'd be 2018. So since he
really
22, 21,
hasn't played that many big league games. If you look at it, 31 in 2018, 107 2019, 43 2020, 70 2021, and then 72 in 2022. That's like not that many big league games, man. And then he steps into his own kind of this season, man, and just rakes all year.
I feel like that's the problem a lot though with like fan bases. They don't give prospects a lot of time to adjust to the big league level.
Yeah.
Like, he obviously came to his own like 3 years in. Like, last year was kind of the year where it was like, and actually kind of towards the end of 2021, I want to say he was raking, right? Yeah. So like you got to give guys chances to like, I maybe we're out of fault for this too, but you got to give guys chances to like get into their own and stuff like that as well. So, I'm excited for like the people listen to it. It's a great interview. Jano obviously opens up to us. He's obviously comfortable with me. So he wasn't like, you could tell he wasn't reserved with the stuff he was saying or like stuff like that, but he's just like that. I mean, he just kind of keeps to himself, not really big on social media, and just like he's from Wisconsin for fuck's sakes. There's maybe like 30 people that went through his high school.
Dalton Varsho didn't go to his high school, though, that's for sure.
Dalton Varsho. So, yeah, I mean, obviously,
happy end of the year to the Gate 14 podcast. What a goddamn year.
What I will say this, and I say this all the time on the podcast, the trajectory of this show in like what is it, 7 months old? Like not even like we started in what, April?
Yeah, what was that DM you sent me? That was the
like
history.
We started like our first episode was in April. How big this podcast is 7 months in is absurd, and it's just accustomed to all the listeners and like the loyal, the fan, like the people that could listen. Like even if we have nothing to talk about, they listen. It's just crazy like that. Just looking back on 2022, man. I mean, it's something we're not done yet, obviously, but it's just like it's something out of my fucking wildest dreams. Like how far this podcast has come. Like we've worked our asses off, rightfully so, obviously with it, but man, it's just been fucking wild. Like I've never really had an opportunity to really talk about that. It's been insane.
Yeah, wouldn't be done without the people listening, man. That's for sure. And
yeah.
Cap it off with the Jano interview. It's been a perfect year.
That's just a great ending. I had to do like it's just the best ending to the year. Like obviously the people have been asking for it for a while. Like they want Jano on the podcast. They want to see Jano kind of. I know Jano does podcasts like before, and with like I know he did the Gibby show and stuff like that. But that's more of like a corporate reserve where he's not going to
did that show.
Yeah, he did that show. But it's like he's going to be more reserved with that because that's like his former fucking manager talking to him.
Yeah,
right?
that's like a boss.
Yeah, like
talking to your boss.
Yeah, like with us, it's like something that like obviously he was comfortable. It was just like it was like he was just talking to a couple guys at the bar, and that's why I think the people are really gonna love this episode. And I'm just in shambles right now. My phone doesn't fucking work. I can't. My screen is where I can't turn it off. I don't know what to do.
We signed Fernandez, by the way.
Who?
The pitcher from the Rockies that tops at 103.
We signed him?
Yeah, Nicholson just tweeted that we signing him.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just the guy you just signed because of the radar gun.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's 27.
Really?
Yeah, he's only 27.
Here's a look at Julian Fernandez throwing 102 past Dansby. That's rock star shit. Avery, get that on the Gate 14 because, like I said, I have no access to a phone. I'm living in the 1930s right now.
Ben Nicholson Smith tweeted that.
Yeah, and it's in his thread, Ave.
That's rocket arm. That's a rocket arm. He battled.
Let's get them to the interview, man.
Yeah. Well, anyways, guys, so here you have it. The highly touted interview with my guy, fellow four-eyed freak, Danny Jansen. I hope you guys enjoy this, man, as much as we did. Keep running up the numbers. Tell your cousins, tell your friends about this interview. Mark this date on the calendar. This is the date that Gate 14 took over the podcasting industry. We love you guys as always. Happy New Year from all of us. Let's make 2023 a movie. Let's get a World Series, and we'll be with you guys on the other side of the year. See you guys in 2023. Gate 14 to the fucking moon. Hope you guys enjoy the interview. Gate 14 podcast, and holy shit, to end the year, sorry, we got a special guest, the third guest to ever come on the podcast. Some are saying we're just the Catchers podcast. It's my good friend who happens to be the starting catcher for the Wagon Toronto Blue Jays, Danny Jansen. Jano, how are we doing, brother? What's up, man?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
We're fired up to get you, man. I mean, these guys, we've been talking about this on the pod for months, and I saw you had a kid. Credit to me for being respectful. I asked you to come on once the kid was a little settled in. So the guys are fired up here. So I'll be honest, man, this is big for the brand. Welcome to the Gate 14 crew. Now we have your back forever. I know people get mad at me for always standing up for you on TikTok and stuff like that. It's going to be way worse. So just prepare for that. Avery, you mentioned something about Jano with the glasses that I want you to bring up here. What's the glasses comment you have for him?
Okay, well, I was an Oakley guy when I played, but I got a fat face. So I would play like late at night, sweaty face, and I would like just fog up totally when I was playing. How bad is that for you? Or do normal people deal with that too?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say my face is all that slim, but so I deal with it too a little bit. So I'll tell you what, man, we play in certain places. Like I've been in Baltimore in the summer and humid, and I'm seeing out of like a corner. I'm like, I'm not joking. I'm like this kind of like looking like all right, here we go. And I got got these lens wipes, so I try to put them in my back pocket, throw the ball back quick, just a quick little wipe, get whatever you got to do to kind of get them. So that's definitely not just a youth thing. It happens to me all the time. It's kind of frustrating, but we got to do what we got to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're catching, that's got to be an absolute nightmare if you start fogging up while the pitch is coming in too.
Yeah, I try to like breathe differently. I try all different things. You know what I mean? So it happens, but not all the time.
Yeah, and speaking about Baltimore, I guess we got to talk about this as well. There was obviously a little bit of a rivalry going on with you guys last year. And listen, I caught it online a lot because I'm a Brian Baker guy. He's been on my other podcast. He's a great guy. Was it just like a fan made up rivalry between you and the Baltimore Orioles, like your team and the Orioles? Or was there like legit, not bad blood, but like a little bit of hate between both those teams?
I think that it's a competitive division, as you know. And I think that, we come down the stretch playing meaningful ball games. So obviously the atmosphere is bigger and, they're more important games, if you will, right. And down the stretch, even though every game's important, but it's Baltimore obviously was, their team that was, coming together this year and playing some good ball. So I think that, obviously these games, to get some emotions when you're battling each other and fighting for playoff spots and all these things, so at the end of the day, that's fun baseball. All these, get down to the stretch and you're playing these meaningful games. So
yeah, but I mean, it's weird because Baker was like playing with you guys last year. So I saw some comments from like Bo and all those guys saying like all I know of him, he was in our fantasy football league. Are you in that fantasy football league with like last year with Baker and all those guys, or you bowed out of it?
No, I wasn't in it. Obviously I love my fantasy football. I'm in too many leagues, but no, I wasn't in that one. And I've played with him like when I was rehabbing in 2021 a little bit, but so I don't really know Big all that well. I don't know. It was just kind of it's an emotional thing, and it was just kind of it was kind of wild, that obviously that one game. So yeah, I don't really got much.
I got a question for you. I heard what your nickname is, and it just like blew me off my feet. So I want you to tell the people what your nickname is, who gave you the Caboose as a nickname, and just why.
The Caboose. I mean, I think me and Johnny were talking about it.
Actually, I came up with it. Hand up.
You said everyone called him that, Johnny.
Well, that's something that I tried to implement. Our TikTok comments started calling him the Caboose. I was all in on it. It's a Johnny Junta made up nickname that is going to continue to grow. And the reason why I think I came up with that on the podcast is because he hits in the 9 hole, not anymore because he just became Danny Bonds, as people call him. He hits in the 9 spot and turns the lineup over. So it's the Caboose, right? So it's a great nickname.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely electric. Hey, that 9 spot, man. There's times like, don't take me out of that thing. I'm rolling it.
Yeah.
But it's an important job. You turn this thing around and you got to turn around a springer, whatever you got to do. Lean into a ball or get hit by a ball, get on base. I mean, get a knock or do the job somehow. It's the 9 spot, man. Second leadoff, they used to call it, right? So, important role.
I used to be 9 hitter myself in college ball, and
yeah, there we go.
It's an important spot to be in. But
listen,
we actually designed. Johnny probably sent you. You sent Jano the T-shirt.
It was never finished, and his name was spelled wrong on it.
Yeah.
One of our goals is we have a new. Okay, so I'm supposed to be the T-shirt guy of this podcast. We had some major issues last year, but this year we're fixing things. And
New Year's coming up, right?
Yeah, big New Year. We're ready to go. New supplier, and one of our goals is to have someone on the Jays wear a T-shirt in batting practice. So, I mean, right now you're our number one target if we create a custom shirt for you to wear, but we're just throwing it out.
I mean, hey, yeah, everybody. I mean, it's not like there's people wear different kinds of shirts all the time. It's not like it's like
you go no sleeves though. you'll just automatically
Mhm.
no sleeve the shirt. You're a no sleeve guy, right, Jano? Am I right with that?
And like showing off the arms.
No, just the batting. I swear I've seen you in BP with like a nice little Under Armour shirt on with no sleeves, like no sleeve shirt over top of it. Is that the style you go with?
No, I like to I usually go like cut sweatshirt. So
Okay.
short sleeve. I keep the sleeves on. The sleeve monster doesn't get me for BP, but I'm down. Yeah, I don't really, I'm not really picky. And obviously the caboose shirt's pretty cool. I think it's a cool idea.
It was a good idea. It's just Avery's guy, our guy Cam, just never finished it. The name was spelt wrong. He used
Listen, how is the name spelled wrong?
Cam's
I
not a
had no
baseball
idea. He
guy.
spelled
Cam's
Danny
not a
Jansen
baseball
wrong.
guy.
He spelled Danny Jansen wrong, which is I mean, it'd be kind of
I don't
funny.
think it's a household name, but
It'd be kind of funny if
It's
we
not
came
hard
out
to
with those
spell.
shirts, though. It'd be funny if we came out with those shirts with just a completely wrong name spelled out.
Yeah.
But did you happen to see? I think I sent it to you. We came up with a nickname for Alejandro Kirk called Thick Jesus. It's taken over the internet. That's what everyone calls him now. Is that so? Like, do you think he has a little bit of an understanding that he's Thick Jesus? Like, what's it like playing with Kirky?
It's cool, man. He's a good dude. I've seen him grow into the more confident guy, especially like with his English. Is going from there, right? Like obviously being a catcher, the communicating with pitchers. So just like him learning and doing all these things, it says a lot about somebody doing that, right? So that's been cool. And obviously playing with him, the guy rakes. I mean, he's a phenomenon. So he's fun to watch, man. So it's been a cool thing to watch him grow and seeing what he's doing.
Speaking of the communicating, the pitch comm this year, as a catcher, do you like that way better when the pitchers use that?
So at first, when I heard about it in spring, I was kind of like, it was just different, but then when we get it going, like you can be creative with this thing. You can give it to them way early. You can give them the sign, like you can press the button when you throw it back, you can do it. And then they have it, they can shake their head. No, like David Phelps was like walking around the mound, like, no, yes, no. And you go and like, it takes away some of the stress of worrying about changing signs every 2 pitches. Like I'm all for that, so especially like with, the pitch clock thing, that's coming out. Right. It's something that you could really, you got to get the sign down quick. And it's something that you got to press the button right away. So I remember when Austin Hedges put that, what do you say when he put himself in the mic, right? He's just like F yeah, or whatever. And like when somebody made a cool play, like cool stuff like that. I think it's unique. And it was pretty cool this year.
I want to ask you, you're talking about some of the new rules, like the pitch clock. As a catcher, so most of these rules are coming out trying to make stealing bases more of a thing. That just got to be a piss off as a catcher, like the whole time. It's just making your job tougher all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess now you pretty much know guys are going to go. So that a little bit of anticipation, like I think anticipation as a catcher is crucial with blocking, receiving, and now throwing. So I had a little bit of taste of it though. I was in the minor leagues with the rehab, my first rehab with my oblique. I was in low A in Dunedin. And that's where they had like the pizza box bases, had the really big bases, and they had you had to, if you threw over, you can only do it twice. So the rule, right, where you have to, pretty much. And on the third one, I mean, guys were gone. They were stealing. There was like 50 bags that game. I feel like, you know what I mean. So we're just gonna have to tune up the arm, have to tune up the accuracy, and get it going. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Do you like that, like as an offensive side, as a thing too? Because you're not going to steal too many bases, but
I don't know. Hey, you never know. I got one career bag. I can't believe it too. I don't feel like I'm that slow. I feel like I finally got one, and it was thrilling to get that one bag. By the way. Richard Blyer picked me off in like 2019. I was like, I'm gonna get one here playing Baltimore, and like at that I was struggling. So at that I'm thinking to myself like I can't get picked off. Like I'm battling to get on base for my guys. And sure enough, I try to go first move and he gets me. But that's beside the point. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, right? Like at first I kind of hated the pitch comm thing and then turned into liking it. Obviously it's more action. It's going to be crazy to see how it plays out, right? It's going to be different. So we're going in there with an open mind on it, right? So maybe you'll see some more bags out of me. I never know.
Yeah.
2020 season incoming.
2020. Dude, I mean, speaking about seasons, man, I mean, listen, if anyone, you could probably speak on my behalf of this. I pump your tires an ungodly amount just to you. Like if you rake, when you go to that locker, you're getting a text from Johnny June to have a fucking day, Jano. That's my guy. Last year was the year of Danny Jansen, right? I mean, you were absolutely raking. I think you had a 140 weighted runs created plus. Is that good? You tell me. How good and how comfortable did you feel in the batter's box last year?
Good. It's, if you know me, like I've always been a defense first guy, like putting, and I still stand by that. Like I'm going to do everything I can to help myself on that side of the ball, help the team. I'm going to throw my body in front of balls and do all these things and really focus on defense. And I've always given myself more time as the years have progressed. Now I've learned more and more about myself, and I say that all the time, but it's really true. I mean, I feel like for me, I had to get out of my own way, and it took me like some years to finally kind of figure out how to do that. And it's been struggle. And I've always looked at struggle like, hey, I'm going to build off it, because I mean, that's the most positive thing you can do on it. Right. So obviously it's been some frustrating times for me over the years, but this last year I finally came in there and I said, you know what, like there's been times where I was just like, I feel like my swing sucks, and finally I was like, my swing's my swing, man. Like I'm going to embrace kind of who I am and what I do. And I'm still going to, work my ass off defensively, and I'm going to give myself time to work in the cage. And I've done that, but I think this year I was like, you know what, I'm not going to grind so hard on certain things. I'm going to find a couple drills I like to do and do them every day. And I'm going to go out there and, compete my ass off and try to help the team. And if I'm that caboose, I'm trying to flip that lineup over. And you know what, like it really freed me up. So a lot of confidence. Obviously getting hurt twice sucked. I mean, every time but I felt like when I got back, I kind of picked up a little bit where I left off. So yeah, it was great. It was, I'm proud of myself. Obviously there's areas that I'm attacking this year to be better, and it's always going to be like that. So I'm excited. I got a lot more, more confidence, of course, after finishing the year like that. But I'll tell you what, going to the off season, like it's not like I'm starting from scratch, where sometimes I felt like I was hitting wise, like trying to really change some things. Like I'm just building off of what I did and trying to improve on that. It's just been freeing all around, and that's the key for me.
I mean, we thought it was MVP after opening day when you launch on opening day.
Listen to this. I got MVP chance that third game. How funny. It might have been two people or one, but I heard it in the box at one point. I know Springer told me he was on deck, and he's like, I think I told him after the game, I was like, dude, you hear this MVP chance? It was funny. But yeah, it was cool, man. It was it's been a big, continue to learn from me and improving. And I finally feel like I figured out how to get out of my own way, and I can really kind of, let myself go.
You're talking about a lot about being a defensive first guy. Someone who's not in the big leagues doesn't know what is like game planning like differently for the pitchers every game, because there's so much that goes into that every game that people on the outside don't really understand it. When people say you want a defensive first catcher, like, oh no, we want them that can just hit everything as well. It's like, obviously you'd like both, but what goes into game plans for like different guys on the staff as well?
Yeah, it's a very it's a process. It really is. We have the first game of every series, we have meetings, and we're talking about the guys coming up, and we have starting pitcher meetings, we have bullpen meetings, and obviously as a catcher in all those, you're talking with the guys that are behind the scenes and doing all these things for data and all that, right? So it's cool. It's been a process learning about how to do that too and manage that. And I think that game planning, preparation is the biggest thing, and it's about getting a game plan with your guy, starting pitcher. It's not always going to go that way. It's a lot of times you got to make it audible during the game, but as long as you're prepared and you've done your research and you've communicated and you're getting on the same page with all your guys, then you can make that adjustment easier. And there's trust being built. Trust is the biggest thing as a catcher, and it's something that it's fun to go to battle with guys. You got each other's backs, and there's nothing better.
Yeah. I want to talk about Berrios a little bit. I think he's been a guy that we all know. We think that he's going to have a bounce back year. And I think a lot of Jays fans, he definitely didn't have the year, he wanted to, obviously with the new contract coming over. But I mean, there's high expectations for him, but we think that he's going to bounce back. And I want to know from you kind of like, kind of to ease Jays fans, kind of, what Berrios is like in the locker room. and like from a confidence level and with his stuff, we all know he has nasty stuff, but I want to hear a little bit about Barrios from you.
Yeah, man, he's a tremendous dude, awesome guy, class act, works his tail off. You know, there's nobody. He's very accountable. Like he knows, you know, after a tough start, man, he's beating himself up. You can tell that, but he's going to go in. He's going to dive into it. He's going to talk with Pete. He's going to talk with, you know, with the other guys too, and really just kind of pick their brains and see what they can do better. So the guy is always, he's something that when he struggled, he's learned from it quick, and he's trying to, and he works hard. And I mean, the guy's in the weight room all the time, just getting better, and he's a class act. He really is. So yeah, I truly believe he's gonna have bounce back too. He's so good. He's so talented. He's got great stuff, great pitches. Obviously he's had tough starts, and he would have a great game too. You know, obviously it's, you know, he wants to be a little bit more consistent. I know nobody's wants that to happen more than him, and he works hard. So I believe that it will happen.
I got to talk about Kevin Gossman. I'm fascinated by him. I texted Logan Webb about him, telling him I need him on this podcast. He's the most electric guy of all time. And I could be wrong on this. And actually, Logan Webb debunked this. I said he packs a new dip every single inning. Apparently, he just puts a new piece of gum in his mouth. So I've been kind of lying on the internet about it for a long period of time. What's it like catching Kevin Gossman? Like, what's his preparation? What makes him different than like other pitchers?
Yeah, he's got one of the best off speeds in the baseball. So it's a weapon. Now the only thing is you don't want to get too obvious, I guess, when you're using it, right? The splitter is dominant, and you know, it's a devastating pitch. So I mean, Gauze is really fun to catch. The guy throws hard. He's been in the sixth inning, still throwing 97, and you know, he's always been a fastball command guy. When we're doing bullpens, you know, there's been times where I would catch his pen, and he's got like the little plastic dummy in there, and he's pinpointing, or he's got the strings. You guys seen the bullpens where they put up strings and stuff like that, and he's trying to get into the lanes. I mean, something like nobody does it better than Gauze. He's pinpoint on all quadrants, and that's something that really elevates his splitter. So it's something he has to do. And the guy can throw down, he throws up. Obviously, he throws up a lot. He throws up and in, up and away. He lets it eat, and then he's got the slider, which we actually, you know, one of his last starts, we used it more than we kind of threw everybody off, because, you know, obviously the splitter is the pitch, but start sprinkling some sliders, and we punch some guys out with it. It was like, here we go. We got another weapon too that's kind of catching him off guard, right? So you can throw that in there too. But he's awesome, man. His game plan's great. He knows what he wants to do. So it's just about really getting on page with him, and then it's about, you know, gaining the trust. So when you have something for him, you got an idea or something else you want to change a little bit, you know that you have it. So he's a lot of fun to catch, and he's a class act too. Awesome dude.
He said he doesn't throw his splitter and pens, right? Either.
He really doesn't.
Wow.
He throws his changeup. He throws a couple. He throw a couple, but it's obviously the splitter is a field pitch, and he's got it. So he, I mean, he'll that thing moves so much. I mean, you just got to throw the crap out of it. I think for him, I'm not going to tell you how he throws it because I don't know, but it's something. It's obviously something. But he throws his changeup. I remember one time we were like, I think the splitter was just up a little bit, and we were like, all right. I was like, guys, let's mix the change up in a little bit. And we threw one, and somebody banged it for like a triple. And that's something where it's like, you know what, like, hey, we're gonna try to make an audible here, and it didn't work. But that's very rare that his splitter is really not on, you know.
Another thing Logan Webb told me is Gossman's pregame routine is he just eats a shit ton of sprinkled donuts. Does he still do that? I
haven't seen it, but I know he loves donuts. So I remember hearing his debut story, where, you know, because Adam Jones, I think, John, you know that, where we hosted him.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about that. I think this is one of the first times we really met, but we were talking about that whole thing, and he was saying that Jonesy put like hundreds of donuts in his locker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard that? That story I think is out there. So I haven't seen him like just inhale donuts before. I mean, unless he does it behind closed doors. But I mean, whatever it does, it works. So
he's electric. I wanted to go back into the Jano tire pump here, because one game to me that really sticks out was the St. Louis game. The Jano game heard around the world. You hit 2 home runs in St. Louis. I think it was back-to-back at bats, both I think either to tie the game or take the lead. This is a true circle here, where you just kind of like, all right, like I'm kind of nasty at baseball after that. Like 2 home runs in a big league game is fucking absurd, right? Like after you did that, were you just like this? That was cool. Like, did you get a chance to step back and be like, holy shit?
That was after I came back too. I was hurt.
Yeah.
So I came back, and it was shortly after I got activated again. And it was just a proud moment. It's like, all right, well, I've been out for about a month and a half, and I come back and you know, doing stuff offensively to help the team. And it's obviously homers are great, and you know, we love them. So it was nice to do that and help the team win, man. It's great. It's always, you know, obviously, you know, you can change the game defensively. Like that's you know, the goal as a catcher is to do that. And when you can add on offensively too, you know, that's spectacular as well. So yeah, it was cool. Cool game. It was a nice game. First time there too. First time playing there. It's yeah, cool.
Yeah, you talking about first time playing somewhere. Someone obviously huge fans of baseball. What to you is the coolest part about being in the big leagues that people don't really know? And the second part of that, what's your favorite place to play on the road?
Okay. Favorite part about playing in the big leagues is just, I don't know, it's just like you get into these games and you have the atmosphere of playing different places, and I don't know, it's just, I think it's just, you know, living out your dream every day almost, you know what I mean? Like that's maybe cliche, but it's pretty damn cool, you know, and pretty fortunate and grateful for it. So I think it's just going out there and playing against the best and knowing that you're in the best league and, you know, battling and in dog fights with your teammates. It's a cool thing, man. It's a lot of fun. And obviously, you know, traveling to different cities and playing in these parks that you grew up watching on TV and playing against legends, stuff like that. It's cool. So favorite away park, you said, right? Favorite away field. I've always thought Boston was awesome. I think the atmosphere there. Have you guys been to a Boston game?
No.
It's pretty electric. I mean, it's always feels like it's a packed house. And I'll tell you what, there's been times where I was struggling. I'm on that on deck circle, and that feels like a mile walk to the plate. And it's, you know what I mean? Because the dugouts are far away and stuff like that. But it's cool, man. You're playing at Fenway Park. It's you know, like it's so, you know, it's history. Like that park is it's been around forever. So you know, and playing and seeing the Green Monster, and so it's cool. That's probably it's probably the one for me.
Tyler Glass now said it's the water pressure of the showers in every big league park that he's like, all right, this is the show. Like, especially when you're playing in the minors your entire career, you're probably playing in places where it's like there's no water coming out of the tap when you're taking a shower. Tyler Glass now said, which is honestly kind of a crazy answer, just that's the only thing he recognizes, is it's just the water pressure of every single ballpark you go to. You take a shower, you know there's water hitting your back.
Yeah, that's probably one too. There's definitely places in the minor leagues where you know it's not the best shower. So grabbing a nice shower after the game, a nice hot one, and the water pressure, that's a good one too. The spreads aren't really bad either. So
oh my God. And dude, so as I told you before the podcast, everyone says that me and you look alike. That's the number one comment is like, I'll make a TikTok saying why like you should be in the everyday lineup or the Jays, whatever. And everyone's like, you're only saying that because you look like him. I'm going to debunk this right now. I think, and Avery could back me up, I think you look more like JR than you look like me. Is that crazy, Avery, to say? I mean,
I'm on that train.
Is it the hint of red, or what?
It's always the
red we got going on?
I always get, well, I told Avery this, but you might get this too a little bit, but Canelo is another guy that I get.
Canelo.
And it's I tell you, it's just the beard and the tint of orange is what gets
the tint, just the tint.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And the glasses always, you know, especially the bigger ones, right? So
it should always be glasses all the time. But Jano, so manager change midway through this season. Charlie had been your manager most of your big league career. What's different about John Schneider being the manager of this group? Kind of different managerial styles, or if they're very similar that people don't know?
Yeah. Well, Charlie has always given me, you know, a chance to play, right? He was the, you know, I had Gibby my first year in 18 for the month and a half I was up. And then I've had Charlie basically for like 2.5 years, three years pretty much after that. So now I'm always gonna be grateful for Charlie for sticking with me and throwing me into the battle and stuff like that. And then, you know, obviously with Schneider, like it's a guy that I've known since the day I came into the system. 2013, he was my first manager in the GCL, which was like right when I got there. And I've had him a couple times along the way, and he was a catching guy, and we've always had this good relationship just from being with each other for so long. And he's the guy that pushes me and holds me very accountable. So So yeah, I mean, he's worked really hard. So, you know, first of all, like switching a manager halfway through the year is always a strange thing, you know, it is, but, you know, I thought he did a great job of grabbing it and going on with it. And, it's obviously it was challenging, you know, as challenges for him too. So, you know, I thought he handled it like a pro and yeah, I was proud of him and, you know, happy for him.
What the thing that I like about Schneider is he seems like the biggest like player coach or just the dude you grabbed off the side of the street that just knows a shit ton about baseball. And one thing that was like it for me was when you guys celebrated making the playoffs, he was just double fisting beers with the boys like he was like the backup third baseman just grinding with the guys. What is he like off of the field? Like, is he playing card games with you guys on the plane? Like, is he shooting the shit like having some beers with you guys? Like, what is he like off the field?
He's a cool dude, man. He's a guy that you can just have a combo with and talk about stuff outside of baseball. And so yeah, he is a great dude. And yeah, he's one thing I've always raved about him is that he knows how people tick a little bit, you know. And everybody's different, especially in a clubhouse. You got guys from all over the world and all that stuff, and certain things make certain guys tick. So I thought he's always done a good job every step that I've had him, especially at the big league level of kind of you know, knowing that and realizing that and communicating like that, you know. So I can't say enough good things about him. He's an outstanding dude. He's worked really hard.
On a scale of 1 to 10 though, how mangled were you on that playoff clinching celebration? I mean, everyone got after it. Bradley Zimmer triple fisting. You had Lourdes at the top of the table, Teo at the top of the table getting after it. Did you get after it a little bit or what?
I mean, I didn't have any pants on the whole celebration. I had a shirt that, I mean, I had clothes on. I think I still had my cup on, believe it or not. It was cool. Stuff like that is what you play for, the celebration. Obviously, it's not the way we wanted to end it with, you know, only the 2 games, but that makes, you know, the whole season, obviously, you know, it's a long season, it's a grind, but that's what we play for, celebrating. And obviously you want to do that however many more times after. Was it 4 total times or whatever? So, so that was cool. Yeah, that was a lot of fun, man. You have a lot of memories. You know, we got some videos and stuff of that night that I'm just going to cherish. So it's cool. Cool.
JR, you wanted to ask him about Zimbomb. Let's ask him about the Zimbomb here.
So we've talked about Zimmer a lot on this podcast. But what was Zimmer like in the locker room? It's a question that everyone wants to ask.
Yeah, because we would start the narrative that he's the greatest locker room guy of all time and everyone loved him, because that was what Jordan Luplow told me when he played with them on the Guardians, or I think it was into the time. What was Zimmer like in the locker room? Was he like a locker room like guys guy or what?
Yeah, he's awesome. I love Bradley Zimmer, and I've played with him. So I met him in the fall league in 2016 when he was with the Indians at the time, and dude, the guy he's so toolsy. He's so talented, right? And obviously he had a tough start, and then, you know, he's in the game in the 9th inning in center field, just a gazelle out there and tracking balls down. So that's kind of obviously a tough role to do. You know what I mean? But I'm in the cage, whether I wasn't playing before or during the game, if I was DHing or just getting ready for a pinch hit, and Zimmer's in there working. I mean, the guy works. Obviously, he didn't want what, you know, the year he had, obviously, but guy's toolsy, and I saw that in 2016 when I was with him in the fall league, and you know, it's in there. So locker room guy though, yeah, great dude. I think him and Chapman knew each other. They grew up together, I think. So it's easy when you go to a team and you know a couple faces and you got a good buddy like that too. So I felt like he was comfortable in that way right off the get go, and can't say enough good things about him.
There's a video of him, and we tweeted it, of him like just make believe DJing on a countertop with Matt Chapman. So that's just putting it all together that they grew up together and stuff like that. But another story, and I'm just credit to me, I'm just name dropping this entire episode here. So Bryson Stott told me that Bradley Zimmer puts on one of the greatest shows of all time in batting practice. Can you maybe talk about this? Because Bryson said he was hitting balls at Citizens Bank when they played together in BP, that balls just never went. Like no one hit balls there. Can you maybe back that up?
He did it when we were playing there. When he was with us again and we went back, which was after he was with them. Yes. I was inside. I was catching that game. So I was hitting group 1, and I went inside, grab a snack or whatever it may be to get ready for the game. And And I just heard about the show, and I've seen it firsthand plenty of times, but I heard about the one at Citizen Bank. He was hitting balls far, and he does it to opposite field, center field. So I'm saying, man, the guy's toolsy. He's got stupid juice, and he showcased it too when he was with the Guardians and stuff like that when he was playing a couple years ago with them and all that. So you see some of his home runs he's hit; they go far.
Yeah. No, he's I'm assuming he's just gonna absolutely rake for the Dodgers because that's usually what they do. But I wanted to talk about the playoffs here because obviously me and JR were live in attendance for game 2. Avery, big league game 2. He had to make believe coach university baseball in Canada. Let's talk. We're not gonna talk about what happened in the game, obviously. I want to talk about the atmosphere because you always hear about the Rogers Center is just a different beast during the playoffs. It's a different beast when it's packed. What was it like playing in that game after the 2 Teo home runs? I couldn't hear myself think in the 500s.
Yeah, it was nuts. I've heard about it. I've heard none of us that were there, except for a couple staff, have been there when they were in the playoffs back, a couple years ago. So we've always heard about it. And, the fact that we were able to bring it home for the wild card games and be in Toronto, we were psyched about that. And remember we were having a team meeting before and we're like, this is going to be nuts, guys. You never know when it might happen again. So, so you really want to cherish it and enjoy it and go out there and just kind of look around. So when we got introduced game 1 and, it was crazy. And then obviously, through game 1 and game 2 and the 2 Teo bombs and just really everything about it. I remember catching that second game, catching Gauze, and you got you're anxious, you got the nerves, it's the butterflies going on until you catch the first couple balls. That's always how it is for me, but especially the playoff game and having that place packed and seeing the towels and the roars and stuff. It's like everything we heard. So
I got a bone to pick
really,
with
really
the towels though. The towels being blue is crazy. I mean, Matt Festa on the another name drop. Matt Festa on the Mariners said that when he looked out in the 500s, it looked like there was no one there because the towels were blue. We got to get that figured out for next year. We need white towels again, like 2015 going in the 500. But you mentioned that with the way Kevin Gausman was rolling there, and obviously the nerves and all that type of stuff. What are you guys talking in the dugout, in between innings, stuff like that? What's the mindset like there with especially how much pressure is on you guys to win?
Yeah, nothing really changed with us communicating. We were just like, hey, well, I like to talk with him every inning. Say, hey, this is what we got coming up. What do you want to do? What are we thinking? Let's attack him with this. Let's do this, do that. And it's just like any other game. And you realize that when you go out for playoff games now, it's any other game. Obviously there's more at stake, but you're not going to do well thinking about that and putting all that pressure on you. And it's not like it's, at first it's easier said than done, right? But it is something where you just got to go out there, treat it like any game and battle your ass off and compete and really see what happens and just really try to enjoy everything about it. So it was. We enjoyed it. Obviously, it's a roller coaster game. I had the best seat in the house and what happened with Spring and Bo and all that. And so that was.
I haven't watched that still, by the way. I refuse to look back and watch that game because I legit have PTSD.
I can't get it out of my head too. I tell you, I had the best seat in the house. I was the only one looking right there.
And the worst thing is we're walking. Me and JR are walking out of the stadium, and obviously people are noticing us and stuff like that, and we are just getting fucking people are looking at us like, what just happened, Johnny? It was the worst memory of my life. That game, I just want to erase that from my brain. When I see that on Twitter, I just immediately scroll. It's the worst thing of all time. What is it like for you as a player, to kind of just erase that from your memory, especially you being so into the game with the lead you guys had and all that type of stuff? How hard is that to get over it?
Yeah, it sucked. But new season's coming soon. You know what I mean? So that's something that obviously you think about, and it's one of those things where you don't want to feel it again. And it's not like effort was ever a lack or focus. You know what I mean? From really anybody on in our dugout. It was just baseball and weird shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
So tough game. But at the end of the day, it's just more experience for us in the postseason. So. I'm definitely looking forward to having to being back and doing some more damage.
We're going to talk about this season coming up. We got some new bodies in the clubhouse. Dalton Varsho, his high school and your high school, 50 minutes apart. I did the Google Maps. did you ever play against him growing up? What do you know about Dalton Varsho type reach out type thing?
Yeah. So I believe, and I looked back too, and I tried to look back at like
I
the
couldn't
high
find any
school.
box scores if you had played each other.
I couldn't either because I was curious too because I know that I've played Marshfield. I know that's where he's from. But my mom sent me a tweet that said that somebody had put out there that we played against each other twice. I think he's a little younger.
I think a year younger.
A year younger. So I don't remember when that was. But yeah, it was not conference. So if it happened, 4 years, I only played him twice. So I mean, I can't even remember, shit about my high school at bats right now. But so yeah, obviously, he's a Wisconsin dude, so it's always another Wisconsinite. And playing, it's always tough, like West Coast teams and stuff like that, like teams over there. Was like watching and seeing. Obviously, I know that what kind of player he is, and seeing that, and seems like a stud. So looking forward to meeting him again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going back into the Varsho stuff, I mean, obviously seeing, I'm assuming you've seen some of the highlights and stuff that he brings to the table. How exciting is that? Like just seeing a younger guy come in here who's put up good numbers, all MLB finalist, Gold Glove finalist. What's that like for you as a teammate to just be able to just see this new body come in, this refreshing new body that has so much stuff that he could bring to the table?
Yeah, it's great, man. It's a great thing. It's unique too because the guy's a catcher and outfielder, and he obviously steals bags and he's fast and he's got great jumps and stuff like that. So, so it's cool. It's cool to see. I think that obviously knowing that he's Gold Glove finalist and just how good I think he had great numbers defensively last year. And that's always nice to see that. So I'm excited for it.
You're talking defensively too. Kevin Kiermaier comes in as a catcher. Your job's also to help stop runs there, and just the outfield defense should be incredible.
It's insane. The outfield next year is going to be absurd.
Yeah. Obviously playing against him for years too. The guy's a gazelle out there. He's got what, platinum glover too, right? So
yeah.
I mean, obviously the defense in the outfield is great.
And you guys got a pitcher coming in who I am in love with, is Chris Bassett. Have you got a chance to reach out to him, maybe talk to him, or just like watch some of the pitch sequences he throws or stuff like that?
Yeah, I reached out to him pretty much the day we got him. Just to say what's up, man, welcome to the team and stuff like that. So obviously I know that he's got a lot of pitches and likes to do certain things, but catching a guy like Rue, I'm not comparing the two, but it's a guy that has 30 pitches too. So it's something that kind of familiar with working different things and having ball move different ways and trying to sequence stuff. So I'm excited to hit the ground running in spring training and really picking his brain and get on the same page. And he's a Bulldog. So super pumped for him.
And mentioning Ryu here, I wanted to talk about this because I think me and you talked about this individually during text. I think what gets missed apart, about Ryu is the impact that he has on the clubhouse. I think he was a mentor to Alec Manoah, kind of helped him out, like come up and stuff like that. You guys, I think it was you or it could have been Nate. You guys went out to like a restaurant with him, I believe, right? And what's it like, just the reception that Ryu gets by, like, I think is he Korean?
Yeah.
Like, because I think it was you or Nate told me this. You guys went to a Korean restaurant and Ryu was just like looked upon like a god. Like, but when he went out there, he was just getting stopped like a million times.
There's nothing like it. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. It is wild. One time we went to, I've been out with him twice at the Korean barbecue restaurants and stuff like that. And afterwards, there was one time when there was like 50 something people just waiting because they're not gonna come up to him during the meal and stuff like that. They're obviously respectful and they're not gonna do that, but the whole restaurant was waiting outside after to see him and meet him and stuff like that. And he's a stand-up guy. Like he takes his pictures and meets them and stuff like that. So yeah, I remember the first time I went there and you just see everybody's heads like just turns like, oh my, like there he is. You know what I mean? It's nuts. It's cool. And it's somebody that we play with, and that we just have normal interactions with, and then you see people looking at him like that. it's wild. There's really nothing like it.
And another guy that I wanted to bring up, and we're talking about like pitchers on your team and stuff like that. A guy that I'm not giving up on is Yusei Kikuchi. We call him Yusei Rivera, just based off when he was coming out of the bullpen. What's the stuff that this guy brings to the table? Because I think you remember this, Jano. Avery, was Jano catching this game when he had 15 whiffs against the Red Sox, where he was just like he looked like a young fucking Randy Johnson? What's it like catching this dude? Because he has electric stuff. Like last year was kind of an off year, but he does have electric stuff.
Yeah, this guy throws rockets. He throws rockets, and he towards the end of the year, he kind of was manipulating his slider a little bit more, and I think that it's something where he just has to get just a little bit more comfortable, and in whatever role it may be. But when he's come out of the bullpen, it's like, hey man, like go get him, like let it eat, let it eat, simplify it for him. And because he throws hard, and that thing is rising, and he's got a splitter too that I think is a little bit overlooked. Like it's a pretty good pitch, like when it's on and it's moving, and something where we can kind of shade a little bit on both sides of the plate. But when he's on and he's letting it eat and that thing's spinning up, I mean, he's on his game. So great dude as well. I caught him, when I was healthy and stuff, I was pretty much with him in there. So obviously a tough year, and I'm feeling it too when I'm with him and stuff like that. And obviously he's a great dude, and he's got good stuff. You want him to succeed, and he works really hard, and he takes it hard too when it doesn't go well. So but he is looking to improve after the tough ones, which is, you can't say enough about that.
It's electric that you described him as a rocket arm, because we're in the process of making like some of the graphic designers that like help us out and stuff like that are making Yusei Kikuchi shirts, but instead of a left arm, he just has a rocket of a left arm. So that's kind of meant to be that you did say that. So I'm really happy you did say that. But obviously a couple more things. So what I want to bring up is obviously you're, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I mean, you're a dad now. What's it like? Do you feel the dad strength, or is that going to come a little bit later down the road? Like, because obviously, I mean, last year you fucking raked. So if that's the case, I would just keep having a kid every single year. But do you start feeling that type of stuff, or like, do you start playing with a purpose more? Or like, does it kind of help you get away from the field? Like, what's the difference that it makes having a kid?
Yeah. I mean, I hope there's that I'm going to be hitting some dad strength now, and that wasn't just the peak last year. But it's great, man. My son Miles, it's amazing, and it's so cool to have a son, and I mean, it puts it in perspective a little bit, whatever happens, like I'm gonna come home good, bad, or ugly, and like Miles is just gonna want to hang out with dad. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. That puts it in perspective. Definitely makes me want to bust my ass even more and stuff. But if it's a terrible game, well, hey, I'm going to come home. I'm not going to bring it home with me, and I'm going to play with my son, so it's a really cool thing. I'm super grateful. We're trying, I could probably do a little bit better job of trying to get a little bit more sleep this off season, but it's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait.
I think we're gonna roll the Danny Jansen MVP. We're gonna start this now, so not just third game of the season. You're gonna get those chances. It's gonna be all year. But I got one final thing from me. Johnny, people talk about who Johnny is. I want to know your first impressions of Johnny, and just someone who is relentless at talking all the time, trying to get you on the pod. Just your first impressions of Johnny as a person.
Yeah, the guy's electric. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. That's probably his most used word. He had
absolutely is.
The first I don't know, Johnny, when I did the podcast with you a couple of years back, right? I think I've said electric 1,000 times since then. It's in my vocabulary now. No, he's obviously he's my clone. But he's a great dude, man. It's always he's easy to talk to. He's incredibly supportive too. He's pumping my tires, but I know he's not just doing it to do it. So
does any non-family member text you as much as he does?
Oh, come on.
He ain't that bad. He ain't that bad.
I mean, that's crazy. I don't text him in the offseason. I'll text him in season, kind of check in on him because he's my guy. And when I say I'll die for Danny Jansen, I will legitimately. If you ever get injured, I will sacrifice. I will sacrifice a limb if you need one.
You just sacrifice a body part.
Just put that. I mean, I'm useless. My body is useless. I'm a 187 career hitter. That's what I'll do. But I got a funny story about Jano. So how I know Jano is through Taylor Guerreri, and I me and Taylor Gurry got really close, and I would just text him. I saw you guys were close, and I was like, dude, we got to get Jano on the podcast. He's like, all right, Jano's in. I just remember like that was like you were like the first big Jays guy that I ever got, and I'm just like a Jays psychopath. Everyone knows that. I tried to keep my cool, so we were aiming for a Wednesday, and like nothing happened. Like Taylor didn't text me. I texted Taylor. I was like, did this guy really just fucking big league me? I was like, I just got big league by Jano, and there was a miscommunication. We did it the next day, so you were like half an inch away from being dead to me. But now we're just boys now. You were just half an inch away from being dead to me. But we're good to go now. We're boys. And by the way,
that's funny.
JR is our t-shirt guy. JR, I want you to get this on the record. We have to get Miles Gate 14.
Yeah.
Stuff. Like that's not even a question.
Baby size custom.
I want Miles to be dripped in Gate 14 stuff till he's 30. Like I want shirts till he's 30 years old.
Give him the caboose.
Yeah, get him the
caboose. We got to
shirts.
get him the shirt and the baby size.
We will get that done. We will get that done. But JR, do you have any last questions for Jano here?
No, it's been awesome. I mean, now you're in our books for now you're our guy for forever as being the first Jays player with all of us on. So it's
we'll all die for you now.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, you're pretty
and I don't think Jano.
Ultimate support.
Jano's really not that big on social media and stuff like that. Like I don't think you realize the outreach we have. If we tell people to start chanting MVP at Jays games for you, it will happen. So just know, like the Gate 14, the Master Gators are going to be dialed in on Danny Jansen, and they're going to be loving Danny Jansen. I'm dialed in on it. I can't wait for him. By the way, because I'm such a good guy, and I know you, and I'm kind of familiar with your family and stuff like that. I know your brother does type of media stuff for the Chicago Bears or stuff like that as well, right? He does like a sports
it's
show.
Just him and his buddy do it. It's not
okay. What's it called? Plug it for the people. What's it called? Let's get some more viewers from the Gate 14. And if you are a listener to this podcast, if you're a Master Gator and you don't follow this show, you're dead to us. So just what's the name of the show and what's the Insta?
It's I don't think he has an Instagram. It's on YouTube. I do check in on it and I listen to it. He does a good job. He's got some serious insight on it. But he'll always send it in like our family Snapchat, like the YouTube link. So yeah, him and his buddy do it. And he's passionate about it, man. I tell you what, he loves it.
We'll leave it in the YouTube description.
Does that mean you're a Bears fan too?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So I was born in Chicago. I lived in Wisconsin my whole life. Grew up 30 minutes south of Green Bay. So that was a grind. There's only like two Bear fans around. So spent the whole high school.
Are you all in on
career.
Justin Fields?
Yeah, I think that he is finally. He's obviously extreme talent. But seeing this guy get out of the pocket and do some things with his legs, like he made history, right? With just running the ball and all that stuff. It's cool to see, man. It's obviously, you want the guy to stay healthy, and I think that he could be the guy.
Yeah, no, it's electric, man. But anyways, Jano, obviously Avery made it clear. I text you all the time. I'm pumped for you coming into this year, man. Obviously, we want to see you healthy. Like I said, you ever need a limb or a body part or like a tenant, I got you. Keep doing your thing, man. What a fucking year you had last year, man. I mean, kind of put your name on the map there. 140 weighted runs created plus. Hand up. I don't know what that means. I just know it's good. Avery, what does that mean? What does weighted runs created plus mean?
You can pretty much just break it out. It's just weighted all like base hits and stuff to 100's the average. So being 140 is pretty goddamn good. I mean, if you do a full season pace, you would have hit like 50 goddamn home runs.
Yeah, that was fucking insane.
We'll go for it next year.
Yeah, 50-50 year. 50 singles, 50 home runs.
4 bags.
The Jano year. But yeah, man, obviously, Jano, keep doing your thing, man. We're pumped for you, bro. We have your back here with Gate 14, as you know. I appreciate you coming on this. And a little bit of a snippet. We do think Dalton Varsho will be coming on the show in the next couple of weeks. Humble brag. #, thank you, Johnny. But we will be getting that going.
You are something else.
But we do appreciate you, Jano, man. Thanks for doing this, brother. And JR, we will get the caboose shirts coming.
We will.
The people need it. It's all
we just got to hope the sizing's right.
And the name spelled right.
And the name.
We got to get it was spelled Janson. Janson.
Let's just go. Jano's a couple letters less.
Yeah.
So maybe do that.
We'll get that going. We'll send that to you. We'll get your kids some shirts. We'll get the wife. We'll get everyone in your family the caboose shirts. We'll put it on my dime. Wait. Thank you, Thank you, Johnny. I got it, Jared. Put it on my tab.
Humble brag.
But thanks, Jano. Keep doing your thing, brother. And we're pumped for you. And obviously, I think we're going to be coming to St. Louis for opening day, maybe doing a vlog down there. So we'll see you down there in St. Louis.
Awesome, guys. And thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.